Hey, what's up, guys? We're back again to continue our NBA 2015-2016 podcast. This time we're going to be talking about the Phoenix Suns.
Hey, what's up? Hello. So last year the Phoenix Suns, they went 39-43 and they missed the playoffs. It was another year where the Suns were competitive, but they just simply weren't good enough. I mean, they kind of took a step back last year from the year prior, but that's to be expected when they traded away the best player in Goran Dragic.
Right. There was kind of a three-way logjam, though, between their best players. All their best players were guards, so...
Yeah.
Obviously, key additions of this offseason. They signed Tyson Chandler, drafted Devin Booker, signed Ronnie Price, John Leuer, Mirza Teletovic, Sonny Weems, and Henry Sims.
Getting some shooting.
Except for Henry Sims.
Yeah. And Tyson Chandler.
True. So as far as their losses, obviously they lost out Gerald Green, traded Marcus Morris. Marcus Thorne went bye-bye, Brandon Wright's gone, and Reggie Bullock is also gone.
Yep. I think they had a pretty good offseason considering they didn't really lose anyone.
Their biggest loss was Gerald Green, and Gerald Green wasn't even playing for them.
I'd say it was Marcus Morris because the Wonder Twins power, it's going to be gone now.
Morris was a good player for them, but I think in a replacement with like Markieff, they had the two of them. They were very similar stats wise. I think Marcus was a little bit better than Markieff, just per minute stats. But they didn't really lose anyone else. And again, having Markieff, who will put up a similar stat line, a very close stat line to what Marcus puts up, you didn't really lose out on much. One of them can just get more minutes now. And when you replace him with someone like Tyson Chandler, I think you're doing pretty all right for yourself.
Yep.
So, starting lineup for the Phoenix Suns. At the point guard, you still have Eric Bledsoe. Shooting guard, Brandon Knight. Those two obviously interchangeable. Bledsoe, I think, is more traditional point guard just size-wise, but he likes to play the two more. So does Knight. Knight's kind of small, but likes to play the two. So I don't know which one they're going to trot out as the set point guard. I think they're just going to be interchangeable point guards. Small forward, still going to be PJ Tucker. Power forward, Markieff Morris. And center, Tyson Chandler. Relegating Alex Len back to the bench.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing to see Alex Len maybe lose out a spot because he was pretty promising last season in some of the minutes he had.
No, he was good. I don't understand having Tyson Chandler such a long deal per se, but I think bringing him in can help Len develop. Obviously, Len was missing on some of the key things like defense. He was kind of porous. But I think bringing Tyson in can help him, like maybe teach him the ropes a little bit more.
Right.
So what do you have as a stat for this team?
So my stat for the Phoenix Suns was their assist percentage. So they had the lowest assist percentage in the NBA last season at 52.2. And that's kind of interesting, especially considering the development of this team now. You have the Morris twins, or one Morris twin, Alex Len and Tyson Chandler, who are all big men that need the ball. If you're going to have a low assist percentage, and especially with point guards or combo guards that are purely focused on driving to the rim in Brandon Knight and Eric Bledsoe, that could be a problem. You might not see Tyson Chandler at his best efficiency because he thrives on the pick and roll. He basically gets all his points off pick and rolls, getting to the free throw line after getting a pick and roll, and just cleaning up the garbage points. So it'll be interesting to see how the Suns adapt, how Jeff Hornacek adapts his team to get the ball moving a little bit more, try to get more assists, and try to have the ball stick less to Knight and Bledsoe, and Devin Booker as well.
I agree. The passing definitely needs to be there more. I think it might be. I think it might become more of a spot-up offense. Obviously, the Morris twins, they favor isolation a lot. So even if, Knight or Bledsoe fed them, they kind of took the ball on their own, and there wasn't an assist to be had. So I think having Tyson Chandler in the paint, though, might force Markieff to kind of become more of a spot-up shooter and not drive so much because there's nowhere to drive with Tyson in the paint. So I don't know. I think just by nature of Tyson Chandler, like his gravity, that might change the offense of the team and increase their assists. Because it's not like either one of these players, obviously neither one of them was a great point guard, but in terms of putting up a Chris Paul or John Wall type assist numbers, but they both put up about 5 or 6 a game, which together, I mean, obviously their numbers might dip a little bit if they're playing together, but you're still looking at probably around 10 or 11 points from your starting backcourt. I mean, 10 or 11 assists from your starting backcourt, which isn't too bad. I think the rest of the team needs to get more focused on ball movement, definitely. But my stat actually had more to do opponents' point per game inside of the paint. They were ranked 28th in that. They allowed 45 points in the paint per game. Obviously, Tyson Chandler fixes that, which will also help them with their defense. They were in the lower 20s, I think 26, 25 in opponent point per game. So I think Tyson Chandler kind of comes in and fixes all of these issues. They had issues with total rebounds per game. They had issues with opponent shooting efficiency. All these different things. I'm pretty sure Tyson Chandler's going to come in and really turn this team around, which would be amazing to see. There's still other glaring issues, obviously, that they have. Their free throws. They allow the opponents to take way too many free throws while not getting to the lines themselves. But I don't know how well they address that over the offseason. I guess that's something we'll see as the season goes on.
Yeah, I feel like Chandler balances out like having those undersized guards.
Definitely.
So if you get beat out like on the pick and roll or something like that, Chandler will be there at the rim trying to stop the guy that's driving.
Yeah.
And I think it's a pretty good move for the Suns.
Yeah, for sure. What do you see as the big picture for this team?
I think the Suns had, like I was saying before, they had a really interesting offseason. People forget that they were like one of the top 2 candidates in the LaMarcus Aldridge sweepstakes. Aldridge himself said that if he wasn't going to the Spurs, he'd go to the Suns. And that would have really been an amazing and interesting lineup with Chandler, Aldridge, Bledsoe, Knight, and whoever you want, PJ Tucker, small forward. That would have been a really interesting team. But I think this team is going to be different from the Phoenix Suns we've seen the past 2 years. The past 2 years we saw the so-called Slash brothers in Dragic and Bledsoe, but them signing a lot more shooters and Lure, Teletovic, Sonny Weems, and drafting Devin Booker. Like you were saying before, this could be a team that's more pace and space instead of drive and slash. You'll still have elements of slashing, but you're going to see a lot of three-point shots taken by this team as well. And I think that's going to be really interesting for this team, and especially in the Western Conference where there's a lot of big men and a lot of big men that don't really space the floor, like DeAndre Jordan, LaMarcus Aldridge, Marc Gasol. Having a team that's almost Golden State-ish and the number of three-pointers they take will be pretty interesting. And I'm really interested to see a full season of the Bledsoe Knight backcourt. And there's always the Morris brothers situation.
Yeah. I know there's rumor that they're trying to work out a deal to send him to Detroit so long as he stays happy. But I don't know how much you can buy into that. Obviously, there was the whole weird thing where he kept saying he wanted out, he hated it there.
He's done with the team.
And then it starts, like preseason starts, and he's like, oh yeah, I love it here. What are you talking about? That was a weird turnaround. I don't know if they're trying to trade him just because I don't know what you can get for one of the Morris twins. I don't know if you can get much for a Morris twin.
Yeah, I think they traded Markieff, I think, for just pure cap space, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, they traded Marcus. I don't know what you can get. I think if you trade him to Detroit, maybe Detroit will buy into the Wonder Twin powers and they'll be like, oh yeah, we'll give you something good in return. But I don't know how good.
I mean, if he becomes a distraction, then they'll take whatever they can get.
Yeah, like a second round pick or something. What I see for this team, they're a fringe playoff team, as always, that they have been the past 3 years. Knight and Chandler are going to be like those fringe all-star like rotation players. Like they're really
almost
good.
Made the all-star team last season. I think he should have.
No, he definitely should have. He was putting up great numbers with Milwaukee before they traded him, which was a little surprising that they did trade him. I don't know if you really can say Michael Carr-Williams is better than Knight. I don't know. I'm not even gonna get into that one though. I think Knight's he's a really good player. He came into his own recently, and I've loved the results. Chandler was an all-star back in 2013, but I don't know. Both of them are going to be those like fringe all-star players that are going to give you great play. Bledsoe's going to be the star that nobody talks about, you know. He's a consistent snub. Like think like Josh Smith back in Atlanta when Josh Smith was putting up dominant numbers on a good team, but everyone was kind of like, oh yeah, but he's not an all-star. He's Josh Smith.
He was surprisingly healthy last year too. He only missed one game.
Yeah, and he puts up amazing numbers.
17 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, a steal and a half per game.
Yeah, 5 rebounds, and he's one of the shorter guys on the floor.
So we can move on to team excitement.
Well, before we even do that, I kind of want to say it's a Hornacek contract year, right?
Right.
So this is kind of putting him on the hot seat. This team has been a fringe playoff team. They put a lot of money into this rotation, so I think they make the playoffs. I think they can fight to make the playoffs. They're going to put up one heck of a fight. You know, you have that veteran leadership, that winning mentality from Chandler. These other players are really good. If he can get them to commit, you know, Bledsoe is a great defensive player, but he takes possessions off. And I think having Chandler in his ear, he might like lock down a little bit more. And we could see a really another big step year from Bledsoe.
Yeah.
So yeah, then moving on, excitement factors.
I had them at a 6. They might not be exciting without Dragic, who I really liked as a player back in Phoenix when he was paired with Bledsoe, but they're going to be pretty good. Even though they might not be a playoff team, they're going to be a fringe playoff team, they're going to be exciting. They're going to be competitive. Even though they might be under 500, they're going to have really competitive game. They're going to rely heavily on pick and rolls, I feel like, this season. And yeah, I think they might not be contenders, but they'll be really entertaining.
Well, yeah, let's say this. Even though they're considered a fringe playoff team, like we've talked about with some of these other ones, that's just the curse of playing in the West. You know, they're a great team.
Right.
They're very good. They're not contenders, no. They're not amongst the elite, but they'd be a 5. They'd be easily a 5 or a 4 team in the East.
Yeah.
It says nothing about this team, the fact that they're going to be a fringe playoff team in the West. I have my excitement at a 7.0. Just like watching the Morris drama, how that plays out. Hornacek's contract, like if we start seeing that like he really is getting into the hot seat, like we start hearing rumors, there's obviously going to be talk from management that's going to get leaked as it goes on if they're losing games. A full year of Bledsoe and Knight, a wide open playoff spot that's there for anyone who wants it in the West.
Mirza Teletovic.
Yeah, Mirza, sure. I don't know. It's going to be... Phoenix is going to be in the headlines a lot this season. More so than they have been in the past couple of years. So yeah, I think it's going to be really fun to be a Phoenix fan. Even though it's probably been fun the past couple of years, even though they haven't made the playoffs, there's been big moves and they've been like competitive, like you said.
Right.
So what do you think record for this team?
Maybe a little bit worse than the last season, just considering that the West has improved just by sheer non-injuries, hopefully this season. I see them around what they had last year, 39-43, but I think 35 to 37 wins is also plausible as well.
I see them at a 42, like a 41-42 win season. Just because, like you said, the West did get better, but they have a defender in Tyson Chandler like most people dream that they could have on their team. He's older, he is going to be injury prone, but if he can put together a healthy campaign for them with the mix of shooters they got, he's going to change this team. And with that, like I said, the defense, they were the second worst team in the league. So if you have that change in defense, your offense is still going to be good. They weren't lacking for offense, and they added more anyway with all the shooters that they got. If you see T.J. Warren kind of take over from P.J. Tucker at that starting small forward spot, you could get even more scoring in this starting lineup, which would be awesome. He's obviously not a shooter, but he can put the ball in the basket like no one's business. I don't know. I think that they can win. I think they can get like 500. Even though the West got better, yeah, I do agree. I think their roster is still good. I think they improved enough where they needed to be a playoff threat.
Yeah.
So, social media, moving on from all that.
I mean, we really talked about how big of a get Tyson Chandler was for this team, but we kind of forget him in the whole DeAndre Jordan saga. I think we've talked about the DeAndre Jordan saga before, but Tyson Chandler's like the the girlfriend that was dumped or something.
Oh, Tyson Chandler's
Mark Cuban went on the radio. Yeah, Mark Cuban went on the radio like the other day, and he's like, Tyson Chandler has a right to be salty. I definitely agree with Mark Cuban. I kind of feel bad for Chandler. Like, he was a big force for Dallas. He helped them get a title, and then they just dumped him for somebody that didn't even want them.
I mean, well, listen, I like Mark Cuban. I do. I think he's an amazing entrepreneur. He started
Shark Tank.
Yeah, exactly. He's on Shark Tank. He started his own businesses so many times. He's a tech guy. He's great. I think he's really funny. I think he's really personable. I think he messed up. He messed up here. You know, he's got a good basketball mind. Obviously, we always criticize, like, Dallas takes swings and misses every offseason in the free agent market. Yeah, this time they really hurt themselves, though, because the swing and miss wasn't them trying to fill a spot. The swing and miss was them dumping someone that they had locked up that was a great player, trying to get another equally talented player. Like, DeAndre Jordan, what's the difference between DeAndre Jordan and Tyson Chandler? He's younger, yeah. Outside of that, they kind of do the same things. They're just running jumps. They defend. Chandler's a better defender than DeAndre Jordan.
Better free throw shooter, too.
He's a better free throw shooter. DeAndre gets more blocks and more rebounds. But you don't need to get so many rebounds if you have Chandler out there with Morris and Bledsoe's pulling in 5 boards at his small stature. You didn't need DeAndre. So even though this isn't about Phoenix, you know, Dallas, we already covered how much they messed up this entire offseason. But
yeah,
I also think it was a little weird him using the word salty. He's kind of old. I don't like it. I don't know how to feel about it. But
he tries to be a hip guy.
Yeah, but listen, I mean, no disrespect to him as a person. I think he's a great guy. I think he's really nice. He is a great business mind, obviously. He's a lot more successful than me. He's a great basketball mind because he's put together championship teams, a championship team for this franchise. But still, it's this franchise's only championship. You know? Mm-hmm. That's good. He's not a bad owner. Shout out New York Knicks. But, like, he shouldn't have said that because the way it was presented, they did kind of trick Chandler.
Yeah. And
I don't know if he read everything that Chandler said was told to him, but they did very much promise him, like,
long-term contract.
Yeah, they promised him that he could finish as a Maverick, and
yeah.
He was trying to get the contract, and they were kind of like, oh, well, you know. And then Mark Cuban tried to push it away, like, oh, no, we offered him what he wanted, but his agent got in the way, and Chandler was like, no, that didn't happen. So, listen, I don't know who's telling the truth. Obviously, I can't pass judgment on somebody's line here, but I don't know. The way that it's being presented, it doesn't look good for Mark Cuban and the Mavs. I think Chandler was kind of wronged, and he's a winner. He's a proven winner. So I don't understand why they wouldn't have just kept him with that lineup. So yeah, I don't think what they did was right, and I think Chandler deserved a lot better. But he's going to prove him wrong. He is a reason to prove everyone wrong now. He's going to show Dallas up for sure this year.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have anything else to add about this team?
No, I don't. I think I've covered
all of it. All right. So, thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back again next time covering the Portland Trailblazers.